That night on my own back porch, I watched the HOA president raise a baseball bat toward my wife and kids, and I knew there was no bluff left in her. The sound of the gunshot that followed it still rings in my ears. I never wanted to be the man who pulled the trigger, but she forced my hand, and Sunny Ridge Estates was never the same again. When Anna and I first moved into Sunny Ridge, it looked like the dream we'd been sold in the brochure: manicured lawns, neat beige houses, neighbors waving at the mailbox. We thought the HOA was just a background fee, a few newsletters about paint colors. I figured at worst it would be some nosy retirees who needed a hobby. I was wrong. It started with letters, unsigned notes about our mailbox, a text from a neighbor wondering why my grass was an inch too long. I laughed it off. But then the towing company came at dawn, trying to haul off my old car, the same one I'd driven through deployments, the one my kids called the adventure wagon. I called the cops, and of course they sided with ordinance. Thin apologies paperwork. But the message was clear: the board had power, and they weren't afraid to use it. Martha Hargrove was the ringleader. She wore her pearls like a badge of office, always in a cardigan that made her look more PTA than predator. But make no mistake, she thrived on control. The first time she showed up on my porch, clipboard in hand, she told me flat out, "Your car lowers the tone of the neighborhood." That's when I realized this wasn't about lawns or aesthetics. It was about leverage. And she had her claws in everyone. Still, I tried to play by the rules. I filed petitions, asked to see bylaws, even went door to door to rally support. But the older residents clung to her smile like it was gospel, and the younger ones, well, they didn't want the fight. My name turned into a whisper, troublemaker, agitator, the guy who wouldn't just let it go. And maybe they were right. Maybe I should have let it go. Then the storm hit. Power lines down houses blacked out. My generator hummed steady, turning our little home into a beacon in the dark. That's when Evelyn and Roberto showed up, an elderly couple with a tree through their living room, and insulin going bad in a warm fridge. I didn't think twice. I opened the door, gave them a bed, kept their medicine cold. It felt good, right, like the kind of neighborliness you're supposed to have in a crisis. But in Sunny Ridge, kindness wasn't kindness. It was ammunition. Word spread and Martha came knocking. She didn't ask. She demanded. "Your house has power. The board will meet here tonight. Your family can stay with your guests." Guests, she said it like a curse. I laughed in her face, told her she wasn't setting foot in my living room. Her smile sharpened like a knife. Refusal will have consequences. And then she walked away, certain that consequences were hers to hand out. After that, it was constant. Notices taped to my garage: violator, non-compliant resident. Anonymous knocks in the night. 3 sharp raps, then silence. My garage door spray painted in red. And the whispers online, Martha spinning stories about me, unstable, armed, dangerous. My neighbors started crossing the street to avoid me. Even Anna asked if maybe we should just sell the house, cut our losses, move somewhere sane. I sat at the kitchen table one night staring at a stack of threats and thought, maybe she's right. Maybe I am the problem. Maybe if I just paid the fines, took down the car, rolled over, it would all stop. But that's when Roberto leaned across the porch, his weathered hand on my shoulder, and said, "Son, they mistake fear for power. Don't let them win. Pick your ground and stand it." He wasn't just some old man. Turned out he'd been a detective for 30 years, and when a man like that tells you to stand firm, you listen. Clara, the lawyer I consulted, backed it up. "They're bluffing," she said. "But remember, if they trespass, you have the right to defend what's yours." So I set up cameras, checked the locks twice, and waited. It didn't take long. Past midnight shadows on the security feed, Martha in her pink cardigan, a baseball bat in hand, board members trailing her with crowbars. They marched down the street like they owned it. She stopped at my gate and shouted, "Open up! Mr. Johnson, your house belongs to this community." I stepped outside, flashlight on her face. "This is private property. You're trespassing. Leave," she sneered. "Not until you learn your place." And then she lifted the bat, not at me, but at the sliding glass door where Anna stood frozen with our boys behind her. Something snapped inside me. I leveled my voice across the yard. "Drop it, now! For a heartbeat the world froze. Then she lunged. The gun went off. The crack echoed like thunder. Martha screamed, collapsing on the grass, clutching her leg. Her bat clattered useless beside her. The others scattered flashlights, bobbing, running like rats. Only 2 stood paralyzed until Roberto barked, "Get the hell out," and they bolted. The police came fast. Protocol, they cuffed me even as my sons cried from the window. Martha wailed on the ground, shrieking that I'd tried to kill her, that I was insane. But the footage didn't lie. Every angle, every warning, every second caught on camera. Roberto's testimony sealed it. Within the hour, the cuffs were off, and Martha was on a stretcher headed to the hospital, her reign of terror bleeding out with her. Neighbors saw the footage, too. For the first time, they couldn't deny who she really was. Petty fines were one thing, but marching with weapons into a man's backyard, threatening kids. The spell broke. A petition spread faster than her flyers ever did. This time, people signed. 60 households in a week, enough to dissolve the HOA completely. The final vote wasn't grand. It was a humid night in Marcus's garage, folding chairs crammed between bikes and boxes. I showed the footage. Roberto stood and told them who he was, what he'd seen. When the ballots were counted, the result was clear. The HOA was dead. That's where the story ends. Martha gone. Her board scattered. The HOA dissolved. Not with fireworks, not with a party on the lawn, but with the sound of one woman's power collapsing under the weight of her own madness. And if there's one thing I learned through all of it, it's this: bullies only win when you let fear make the rules.